All right, everybody, welcome to the broadcast today. My name's Trevor, and we're doing some more Volusion training. I'd like to train you guys a little bit on the Wysiwyg Editor within the Volusion software. How many of you who are here live with me know what I'm talking about when I say Wysiwyg? Spelled like, let me show you the spelling on it. Let me delete out these notes. Okay, spelled like this. We've talked about it in a couple of different trainings in the past, but that stands for this. What you see is what you get. Wysiwyg, okay? So if I ever say your Wysiwyg editor, you'll know we're talking about the what you see is what you get editor. And it was something that was put together for people who don't necessarily know code. There was once upon a time, if you wanted to have a website, you had to know how to code it in yourself to create it. No longer the case now, because we have these Wysiwyg editors that allow us to do it in more of a point and click, drag and drop type environment that helps us build things on a website without knowing how to do the code. That's a Wysiwyg. What I want to talk about specifically as it relates to a Wysiwyg editor is when you're building a website, part of your job here is adding products, right? So I'm going to go inventory and we're going to go to a product, and I'm just going to show you what I mean by that inside the Volusion platform here. Let's go to this little green shirt here as our test product for a second. Every product has a name, a code, a price, a weight, but then also a description. Now I'm going to zoom in a little bit on the description area. I should probably zoom out maybe a little more. There we go. That's pretty good right there. This is the description area, right? Now, this little toolbar is part of your Wysiwyg. I guess this whole thing, this whole box right here, maybe I should circle it so you can see it a little bit better. This whole box is what you would consider the Wysiwyg right here, okay? Specifically this toolbar. Now this looks a bit like any other toolbar that you might see. It's got different functions, like this one is the bold function. You've got the italic function. You've got the strike through function, bulleted lists, numbered lists, indenting, bolt directions, pictures, videos. We'll talk about each for just a second. But it looks a little bit like a word processor, right? Kind of a watered down, really simple version of a word processor, like a Microsoft Word or whatever. That's really what this is. So what a lot of you guys do when you're adding a product is you'll come in here and you'll just copy and paste from your supplier, right? Happens all the time. Let me do an example of that with you. And I think we even encourage you in a lot of cases to copy and paste right when you first start. So if you're doing it, you're not doing anything wrong. Let me take that out. Okay, so let's say for a second we go to I don't know. We'll use this supplier as an example. Let me just grab a random product here. Okay, you might come to this supplier right here and you might grab this product description just like this, copy it, right click, copy it, and then you come back to your Volusion and you paste it in, okay, like that. Now, one thing you'll notice when you copy and paste from a wholesaler or from a supplier is that a lot of times you're not just copying the text, you're actually copying the formatting. Okay, how do I know that? Notice for a second, notice the color of this heading. It's brown. Okay, Why is it brown? Well, because it was brown on my supplier's website. Right? Does that make sense? So you're not copying just the text, you're also copying the formatting. Now this can be problematic if you have multiple suppliers. If you have 3 or 4 different suppliers and you're creating product descriptions and you're just copying and pasting them right over, it may make for some odd looking product descriptions. Okay, let's do another one here just for fun. There'll be no consistency within your product descriptions. Here's another supplier. I'm going to use them as an example with you guys. My internet is running slowly. Give it a sec. Yeah, it's not running very well. Let's try another supplier. Let's go, how about Walmart? Let's grab a product description off of Walmart. I suppose it doesn't matter. We'll just grab something for fun. So watch, I'm going to highlight all of this. Use my computer. Sorry, it's running slowly. It's crawling right now. Okay, here we go. So I'm highlighting. Right, highlight some of this description, copy it, and then if I go right back in here, let me delete out this description. If I paste that in, notice that it takes on the exact same formatting again. Okay, it even copied over a link, which I need to be careful about. I should delete that out for sure. And it copied over this table. Well, so let me tell you what I think about doing this, okay? When you're copying over formatting, it just doesn't look good because it's going to be inconsistent if you're doing it from multiple suppliers. It also brings along with it some garbage code. Here's what I mean by that. Whenever you're using a Wysiwyg, we're right now seeing the part that people are going to see. But if you click on this little button at the top left here, this is kind of the behind the scenes HTML button right here. Okay, so if I ever tell you guys, hey, click on your HTML button inside your Wysiwyg, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's that first button at the top left. Okay, we'll click on it. And I want you to look at this code. Okay, I'm scrolling through. This is all code that makes up that content that I copied and pasted over. Some of it, the code is what sort of creates the formatting as well. So a lot of that code is in there to make it look exactly the same as it did on Walmart. We don't necessarily want that because when Google looks at our site and they look at the pages of our site, they are absolutely going to see this code and they're going to see that it's a direct copy of Walmart or some other supplier. And I don't want that. I want everything on my site to be as unique and original as possible. So instead of doing this, I'm rather going to copy and paste my descriptions from my suppliers a different way, okay? And I'm going to show you how to do that here in a second. I also have noticed, let me delete all of this out first. Let's get rid of this Walmart one that we just pasted in. I've also noticed that some of you guys like to use Microsoft Word, okay? And you say, hey, Trevor, we typed out our product descriptions on Microsoft Word first. Here's a Microsoft Word window. And so you go in there and you make this really nice, elaborate product description. And then here's what happens. You copy it. Okay, I'm going to copy it. And then you come here and you paste it. And it looks really nice. And you're thinking, great, that's the way I'm going to do it. But here's what you're not seeing behind the scenes. Watch when I click on the little code button, the HTML button. If this is being copied from Microsoft Word, look at all this terrible no good code that's being transferred over. Look, I'm scrolling. That's all that is, this garbage code that comes over when you copy and paste from Microsoft Word. See all this crap code? All of it. Look, I'm scrolling, 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 scrolling. All of that code still scrolling. All of that to make up these two little paragraphs. You do not ever want to use Microsoft Word to paste into your Volusion. Period. For that very reason, you're bringing over garbage code and an unclean code that's very confusing, like the code that we were just looking at here, is a no-no for Google. They don't like it, and it jumbles up your site. Now, the user, the customer, may not see that, but the Google, the search engine, is seeing it, and it's not helpful for us. So we want to get rid of that code. Okay? So here's the trick. Don't do your editing outside of the Wysiwyg here. Rather, here's what I'd prefer to see happen. Okay? If you find a product description like this one from Walmart, and you think it's really good and you want to use it to start, copy it into your Wysiwyg, but click the HTML button first. Remember, the HTML button is this one right here, right? Click that button down first. When I click it down, it sort of darkens it and puts a solid line around it so it looks like a little square. And then I'm going to paste in my my description, okay? Now, if I click the code button again, what it's going to do is it's going to have given me all of the text, but none of the formatting. So what it's going to look like is this big block of text, no spaces, no breaks, no bolding, no formatting. It basically just took the raw text and put it there. And what I love most about that is if I click on the code button, there's not any garbage code here at all. It's just a block of text. Now, you're right, it doesn't look good, does it? It's just nobody's going to read this, so I can still pretty this up a little bit if I want to. Okay? Right? I can make this a heading about this item. I can highlight it and I could bold it just like that. Imported, made in the USA, original disclaimer, space, right, dimensions. Now if I want something to sort of stand out, maybe I underline this part right here. Or not underline, but italicize, we'll say. Right, that italicized it. Maybe I want to color this, highlight it. I can come over here and I could color the text, right? Maybe that looks nice. I can even change the font. So if I want, I could highlight all of this. And right here, let's see, right here, I could change it to these options right here. And can I recommend you don't get crazy on your fonts? A normal font is just fine. A Times New Roman is just fine. An Arial is just fine. Okay, I don't know how much font changing I would be doing. Leave it as a standard font. The golden rule in e-commerce, you always have to revert back to what Amazon does. Okay, and if we look at an Amazon product description, we are not going to be blown away by how beautiful it is or how colorful it is. Okay, we're just not. It's going to be very simple looking. Here's their product description. Amazon's product description there is a list of bulleted items, which we can do in our Wysiwyg. And if I scroll down here, sometimes there's more description information below, which on this one they don't have more below. So theirs is a simple bulleted list. Okay, that's Amazon for you. Now, Amazon products differ from product to product, but what I want to point out to you is that the formatting is not different. You don't see lots of colors and underlines, and it's very simple. White background, black text, maybe a little bit of bold, maybe some bulleted items, a numbered list maybe, and that's it. So don't go over the top on your product formatting. I guess that's the point I want to make. Let's take a look at this one. It's something my daughter would love, right? Little dress. Let me scroll down and see what they have as the product description. Here it is. I know that's probably kind of small on your end, but it's this right here that I'm highlighting in blue. See how nothing fancy about it? Normal product description. White background, black text, normal font. So my advice to you is as you're working here inside Volusion, let's not worry about different colors and going over the top on our formatting. Right? That doesn't look good, does it? Just do normal stuff. Black text, white background, okay? And then you can break it up a little bit. Now, if I wanted to do a bulleted list, they're very easily done. I could say this is, whoops, it's got the bold. Here is a list. And I could put a couple of spaces. I click bulleted list, list item 1, list item 2, list item 3. See how easy that is? I'm hitting enter, and it's just because I clicked the bulleted list option. Okay, I will say here is a numbered list. Okay, here's the numbered list button right here. Right? I can create a numbered list. It's a way to break up your product description. You know, traditionally when I do a product description, I like at the very top of it to be some kind of just a short heading or headline. So we'll call this a beautiful purple dress. Okay, there's my headline, and then I'm going to go in and I'm going to write out maybe a couple of sentences here. Obviously, ignore the fact that this is just a bunch of gibberish, but I'm going to write out a few sentences right here. And then below that, I might do like a features list and then do a bulleted list. Nice material, long lasting, ships for free, right? So on and so forth. Make a list of the features. And that's good, okay? So notice how I'm not doing anything fancy here. Maybe I make one of these, maybe I make this a heading right here. So I could make that a big bold heading. All I had to do is highlight and select one of these headers and made it bold. But maybe I don't like the size as much, so I can size it down a little bit. Maybe 18 is good. Maybe I'm not in love with my font, so I highlight my font and I come over here and change it to Georgia or whatever. Okay, so these are some basic changes I can make, but these are some of the only things I would do. I wouldn't get into too much formatting, okay? The important thing is this. And these are the two takeaways I want you to take from me today as we're talking about the Wysiwyg Editor as it relates to adding products. Number one, if you do choose to copy and paste over from your supplier, make sure you first copy it into this box. Okay? So if we're going to copy and paste, you're going to click this button first, copy it there, and then click it again. Okay? It'll show up as a big block of text, but that's what removes the formatting, right? Make sure you remember that first. I know most of you guys will be copying and pasting from a supplier initially. And you might think, well, why are you telling me to do that? Why would I be copying and pasting it all from my supplier if that hurts my Google ranking? Let me explain. If you were to take time right off the bat when you're first trying to get products on your site to rewrite all of the descriptions, it would take you forever to launch your site. So our recommendation is copy and paste from your suppliers the way I just showed you, so it's not taking formatting over. Launch the site and then later go back and rewrite your product descriptions. Don't write them in Word and bring them over. rewrite them right here in the Wysiwyg so as to not bring over any bad code. Okay, that'll save you a lot of headache, and it's going to make your site a lot more clean on the back end when Google crawls it and is studying the setup of your site. It's very important that we do that right. Okay, those are the two big takeaways that I want you guys to take from this discussion today. And then if you know any code, I mean, you can always come back here and you can click the HTML button and you can write your own code if you know any, right? And I know a little bit of HTML, so I can get in here and I could bold something in code, or I can create a space and say this is a new paragraph, right? I mean, I know just enough coding that I could do some of this, but that's why we have a Wysiwyg, to eliminate the need to code, which is one of the biggest questions I get from you guys when you're like, hey, I'm starting my very first website. Do I need to know code? And the answer is, of course, no. Not because it wouldn't be good to know a little. That stands to help you, but it's not necessary. That's why we have a Wysiwyg, okay? Okay, guys. Any questions about that? Does that make sense how we want to structure these when we're using the Wysiwyg? Horace, you say, if I formatted a word in Word previously, can I cut it from the Wysiwyg, click the HTML button, and repaste? Yes, you can. Yep. So here's what I would do. I'm going to copy something over from Word right now. Okay, there it is. That was copied from Word. I know it's from Word because if you look at the code here, it's a bunch of terrible, awful, garbage code. Here's what I can do. Let me copy this. Let me go to the HTML. Let me delete out all this garbage code. Let me paste it again here. And now the formatting is gone. Now see, I've just got the wording without the formatting and code. That's what I want. So yes, you definitely can, Horace. Peter says, if I strip the HTML from a supplier description, then format it nice, will Google notice the copy? There's a chance they will, because Google notices copied content in a couple of ways. Number one, they notice copied content if the wording is the same. And then number two, they notice copied content if this HTML back here is similar. So if I were to copy something from Walmart, like we've got here, so I'm going to copy that and I'm going to paste this in. Okay, this is the way it looks right here. If I come in here and start editing it and I say, well, I don't want this to look like a copy, so I'm going to delete out read more, and I'm going to delete out this specs section, so that's not there, and I start editing some of this. If you go into the back end here, Peter, you're going to still notice that a lot of the code is still there from Walmart, and we don't want that. So I would actually much prefer, if you are going to copy from your supplier, that you always copy without the formatting. I think you'll be safer that way. I don't know for sure if it will bother Google. It will if you don't change any of the text, and I think there's a chance if you don't change any of the formatting. Cindy, you say, what if my text is different on different pages? Should I cut the text out, then hit the HTML button and paste it in, then hit HTML button again? Yeah, that's kind of what we showed Horace there a second ago, because you're probably experiencing what a lot of our clients are experiencing, Cindy, and that's that you've got several suppliers and you're copying and pasting from these other places, and all of a sudden you've got some products that have itty bitty tiny product descriptions, like the font is really small, and then others that are bigger, and then others that are kind of like an off gray color, and then others that are a full black, and then others that are a different font style. And it looks kind of unprofessional when everything is a little bit different, which is why I would much prefer from the very beginning you do it this way, making it all very consistent, eliminating poor, ugly code that we don't want there, and just making the site clean. And that's what I would prefer. Yeah. If you're talking about font, absolutely. I mean, you can change your font with the options they give you. They don't give you many options. If I highlight this, I can come over to this and choose these different fonts, or I can just remove the font and it takes me back to my original. Up to you. All right. So I want you guys all to have really nice looking product descriptions. That was kind of the goal today. I've seen too many product descriptions that vary or have garbage code. And I think our discussion today should fix that. And, using a Wysiwyg is a great skill to have. There's a lot you can do with this. It's a really powerful tool. I mean, you can create tables and you can embed videos, and all of those options are right here. You can change alignment and you can link text and so on and so forth. Um, but I hope this at least helps you on your products for now, and maybe we can do some other trainings on the Wysiwyg. Okay. All right, well, we're going to turn off the recording. Stick around for just another minute because I want you guys to give me feedback on something, and then we'll take it from there. For those of you guys who are watching this recorded, thank you very much for coming along, and we'll do more Volusion next week.